Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the channel Shout Out Moses. I am your host Moses, and today on Should You Play, I bring to you guys Killsquad. This game was developed by a company called Novorama, and while they don't have much experience with this type of game, this game definitely seems to hold my interest. Now, this game is a top-down action RPG-ish kind of game, much like Diablo 3 actually. But unlike Diablo 3, this game doesn't focus on character stories or background or lore. Instead, the game really tries to focus on its flashy combat, its gameplay mechanics, and its nice multiplayer system. So far there are 4 characters in this game, and I'm not really going to be too harsh with the lack of characters because this game, just to remind you guys, is in early access still. It just came out early access yesterday. So I'm not going to be too harsh with it, but there are 4 different characters and each character has their own unique type. You have a melee DPS, you have a ranged DPS, you have a ranged healer, and then you also have a bruiserish tank character. So as soon as you start on the game, you start off in the lobby, and you can choose from one of those 4 characters I mentioned earlier. So you can have a party of 1, 2, 3, or 4 with either random queue or party up with some friends. The only thing I don't know is if you choose 2 or 3 characters instead of your ideal 4-party group, I don't know how the scaling works. I don't know if you have 1 person or 2 people compared to 4. I'm not sure if the enemies are easier or harder, if they take less damage. I'm not sure how that works yet. So once you decide who you want to use, you can then go on to your first mission. And your first mission will have different levels that you can choose from. And levels as in levels of difficulty. And the levels of difficulty kind of range by your vector level, which is your overall player level for that character. And that level is determined by the amount of equipment they have. And I know a game, Destiny did this, and I didn't play, well, I played a lot of Destiny. I don't remember a lot of Destiny, but I remember in Destiny something similar to your light level where just because your attack was higher with one weapon didn't necessarily mean it was the better weapon. It just went by whatever the overall rarity score rating of that weapon was. And that's kind of how it goes here. So one of the first things you guys need to realize once you start an actual stage in this game is that this game is instance-based. There's no continuum of different levels. There's just a wide variety of different levels within different instances that you choose from. And like I said earlier, each level, count level, how strong you are, will determine what stage you go to. And while you do have your account level, your overall vector level for that character, once you get into that instance, you start off as level 1. And the best way to think about this would be if you've ever played a MOBA game. If you ever played a MOBA game, no matter what your account level is, when you start the game, you're level 1, and then when you kill minions or do whatever, you start to level up to level 16 or 20, depending whatever MOBA game that is. So that's kind of how this game works. So you start off at level 1 inside the instance, and then you start hacking and slashing your way until you start leveling up. And as you level up, you'll start to notice that you have different skills that you can use. You have a skill tree, and you can choose different skills depending on the map, depending on your team comp. Maybe you want to change the way that you play specifically for your character, which I think is a really nice touch. Now, for the first levels that you play, I'm not going to say this game is easy, because it's not, but it's definitely not hard early on. So I would say comp doesn't matter. So if you just want to choose or test out any characters for the first couple stages, it really doesn't matter what characters you want to use. You probably won't die, so it doesn't really matter if you have 3 ranged DPS and 1 healer or something. But once you get to those harder vectors, vector 20, 30, 40, 50, once you get to those, your team comp will definitely matter. So you may not want to have that 3 melee DPS and no healer there. You might want to find a way to organize your party a little better among the people you are queuing up with, whether that be friend or a random queue. But like I said, the first couple stages in this game are not very hard, and if you do manage to get yourself killed, it's okay. So far, I have not played a game where all 4 people have died, but if 1 or 2 people die, they can be resurrected. If you wait, it's a pretty long cooldown, but if you wait the 60 seconds or a teammate goes to help revive you, you can come back and be right back in the action without really losing anything. You'll just start off with about 25% of your health. I'm assuming if all 4 people die, you lose, but so far that has not happened to me yet. So you've heard me talk about what the game entails and kind of setting up the proper foundation of getting into the game, but how does the gameplay actually feel? Well, to be honest, it feels really good. Depending on any character you use, I've used all 4 characters so far, and while I do enjoy the melee DPS more, that's usually the role I like to play, I enjoyed every class to the point where it doesn't matter what class I'm playing, I will still have fun. The range DPS gunner is extremely cool. I love all of his moves. The tank, honestly, well, he's more of a bruiser because he does a lot of damage for a tank. The healer, I like healing too. I love playing support role. And then if I want to be an assassin, just get right in the action, I'm always in their face, and it just feels fluid. The controls are really nice. There's not this delay. I know it's some games, sometimes when it hits, you might feel like there's a delay for these kind of games. There's none of that. As soon as you hit, you immediately start swinging your sword, shooting your gun. You can combo really well. There's a lot of flashy moves you can do. This game is flashy and presents itself very well. So the combat, I have to say, is outstanding. It's the best part about this game by far. So the presentation of the game itself, the combat, the stages, like I said, there's a wide variety of stages. Everything looks and feels great. So are there any issues with the game? There are, but there are not that many. In fact, a lot of them are just somewhat nitpicks and things that can be fixed. Since this game is in early access, none of the problems with the game are groundbreaking or unfixable, or they have to really just tear apart the game to fix it. They're very quality of life things. So my first one, and this is honestly my biggest one, is I think communication is key, especially in a game like this, especially for the harder levels. I don't like the fact that I have not found a way to personally talk to my teammates, and it gets very frustrating. In a map where if I want to go north because I think there's treasure and they want to go south to the objective, I can't tell them that I think there's treasure up here, because if they run into enemies and we split up, I've kind of hurt the group. So I would like there to be a text icon, a chat section, and emotes or those emojis that go on your head that says this way something. I want to be able to communicate with my team. I feel like it's kind of a necessity in this game. If you have a full party of 3 or 4 and you have mics, and that's one thing, but I think the game should have some kind of internal chat or communication feature. Next would be the control support. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've never played Diablo on PC, and I haven't played many games like Diablo on PC, but to do your skills on keyboard was Shift, right click, and I think it was E. Those are the 3 buttons because you have 3 skills. Well, technically 4 skills, but those are the first 3 skills you get, and that's the button that binds it to. And I don't find those buttons very comfortable at all. Now, it also has controller support, which is really nice to see in an early access game. And on the controller, your shortcuts were right button, left trigger, and right trigger, which I feel is very comfortable and very reasonable for a skill, for skill bindings. But the problem is, so far, you cannot rebind your keys. So I'm not sure if that matters to everyone, but if you don't feel like pressing Shift, E, and right click for your skills, you might want to stick to controller. But that just goes more to a nitpick. I just think they should add key bindings. I feel like every PC game should have that. The next one, this one's a little bit more of a personal nitpick. I love lore. I really like lore. I love getting to know the characters. Not like Overwatch where they just kind of tell you a little bit. I really want to know more about the characters a lot. So I really wish they add some sort of cinematics to the game, story to the game, just a little bit, but I understand it's 2019. That is not where the world is, if gaming is heading to, but that's just something I would personally like to see in this kind of game. And then the last thing was the mini-map. I think the minimap is way too basic and way too generic. Well, it's not even generic because generic minimaps are more detailed than this one. This minimap is literally just a circle. It's like Halo's radar. If we do split up for some reason and there's terrain between us, the minimap doesn't show that. It just says I'm below you. And so if you try to head down and there's terrain, you're not sure where to go. I wish that the minimap was a bit more detailed in its information, because the minimap is almost useless in my opinion. But to be honest, those are really it. That's the only three, well, sort of kind of four issues I have with this game. The game is very solid. But that's really it. Those are the only four issues I really have with the game, and they're not big ones. And honestly, three of them can be fixed with very little effort. I understand the lore thing, that's me, but the other three can be fixed with very little effort. So when it comes to should you play Killsquad, I'm gonna say yes. This game is fun, it's flashy, the combat's intuitive. Everything about this game is a perfect experience for people that still love co-op multiplayers, and it's a perfect LAN game. So what did you guys think about the video? Do you guys think you're gonna buy the game? Let me know in the comments below. And if you guys liked the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.